Welcome back, everybody. We are back in Canada. Hello and welcome back. I'm Aladino, and together with my wife Maya, we are refitting a Cape George Cutter 36. We're here in the marina, holiday's over, and the refit is just about to start again. For the past few weeks, we have been in Sweden, going for a last sail on our sweet little boat in Sweden. The Vinde was our home for about 6 years, but hopefully this one is going to be our home soon. This boat has undergone quite a rebuild already since we got it. We had the boat in the States, and there the biggest thing was that we had to open the decks to build new blocks, new beams, do some repairs to the cabin top, close the decks again, add on new bulwarks. So yeah, pretty structural repairs, which are now behind us. Now the boat is in Canada, and it's going to be final touches compared to what we've done, but the list still is long. A big one is going to be the repower. Then we're also going to do new standing rigging. It's also still on the interior, some varnish, some paint. We need to actually make things aesthetically nice. Like right now, structurally things are sound, but the bulwarks need to be fiberglass, the decks need to be faired and primed and painted, and non-skid has to go on. All the teak needs to go back, the hardware mounted again. So that's what's upcoming.
After some time away from the refit project, we have to refamiliarize ourselves with everything there is to do and figure out a game plan for getting work done in the new location. These first few days will just involve a lot of planning.
Let's start with a little walkthrough. There's already one visual difference. The anti-fouling is gone, and that is work we had done while we were away. Taking the anti-fouling off is a nasty job, not only health-wise. I mean, that's what I've been doing for 10 years as well. I've done my fair share. It's just really grunt work, and it would have taken a long time. We had it soda blasted. Some of you guys might have heard of that. It's similar to sandblasting. Sandblasting is literally, it would remove the gel coat. It could remove some fiberglass. That is more if you're really doing an osmosis treatment. We instead opted for the least destructive approach, and that is why the soda blasting. We came here and it was all done, and now we can invest our time wisely and get at it. The reason why we took it off is because we want to get to the hull. Before splashing the boat for the first time, we want to make sure to have a really good epoxy barrier coat on it, and that is to prevent blisters down the road. So having the anti-fouling removed is the first step to be able to continue. And this one specifically really had a thick layer of anti-fouling. Over here by this through hole that I filled with epoxy, you can actually see a step, and that is how much anti-fouling was removed. The epoxy stayed being harder, but yeah, there is like 2 millimeters of a step, which is pretty crazy. There was a lot of anti-fouling on this hull, so it would have taken us a long time of scraping and sanding, and that is energy that can be put elsewhere now. Also, I was taught not just taught, I also learned it when I was working in the boatyard. When too much anti-fouling builds up, it starts to get brittle, it get cracks in it, it starts flaking. So when you have a mount like we had on here, then it is a good idea to take it off and start from scratch. You can see that the water line came off really easy, because when they soda blast, they have to put a tarp down, of course, because it makes a huge mess. It's literally like pressure washing, only that you spray something like sand onto the hull, and then those 2 to 3 millimeters of anti-fouling, they're just going everywhere. So they taped it, and yeah, the color here just came off, which is not to worry at all though, because we're gonna do it like we did on Magic Carpet 1. Bring up the epoxy barrier coat all the way to where the green ends now. So I'm gonna tape it above and then sand the whole thing. Another interesting thing is when you look at this, what appears to be like bubbles, That's more from spraying the medium. There is no actual blisters that pop out. That is when they're actually doing the soda blasting. But then interestingly, if you look close enough, you see that there is something black in the background. Now, I'm not 100% sure, but the reason that makes most sense to me is that after putting the gel coat into the mold, they follow up with a layer of black gel coat, and that is not to have translucency. Often when the sun is shining, you may look into your chain locker and you see, literally you can see through, you see the light. So having a black layer of gel coat might be to prevent that from happening. Or drop your comments down below of what do you think the black gel coat could be for. Anyway, the gray instead, that is an epoxy barrier coat from the past. So that is actually really nice, and that shows that the soda blasting is a lot smoother because it didn't remove the epoxy. Or just partially, so it's not like I'm gonna count like there is a barrier coat, but it just shows that it is a smoother process. I'm very happy we got the bottom soda blasted while we were gone. It's not gonna require too much more work, and then the bottom is gonna be ready for a new life as well. And it's really all of you guys and our patrons that I want to thank for that, for having somebody else work on our boat while we are gone. I've never had that happen before. So yeah, that definitely was a luxury that we were able to hire somebody to do this for us and yeah, get it off our list. So thank you. Up here on deck, there's a couple of things that need to happen. So today actually I was cutting down the bulwarks flush, or the excess material. Like you can see over here, there's still one section. Yeah, when I can see the shear line, it looks a lot better. But now just to explain the overarching things, basically we want to glass over the bulwarks. A couple of things need to happen before that. I need to put in G10 inserts where the chain plates go in place so that we don't compress the foam when we tighten. I need to glass the insides of the scuppers. I need to still drill out where we will have the hawse cleats at the bow and at the stern. So those things happen before we actually glass over the bulwarks. After that, it's going to be fairing and paint. We can install the tow rail, we can put on the stanchions, and that's the continuation. Install the chain plates, but yeah, first thing is that. Then I have lots of things to focus on the interior. The big one that I'm really excited for is the new engine. It's already ordered, it's waiting for us, it's here. We have to go pick it up on Vancouver Island, along with all its plumbing, CV joint, which is the aqua drive, diesel filters, raw water intake, all that is required. Then we have some traditional plumbing. The faucet needs to go in place. There's going to be through holes and pumps to actually drain the sink. Then we have to hook up the propane lines ready to cook things. Then of course we have the electrical pending as well. But I think that will be a little bit more for the colder months when I'm just going to be inside. Then it's actually nice and peaceful. There's also things that need to happen in the head. This wall was put in rather hastily. It was more to be accommodated for the move, because otherwise we wouldn't know where to put it. Inside the head, we don't have much yet, and that is because we are still throwing around some ideas. Potentially, we will be trying to incorporate an additional partition with an opening to actually have an enclosed shower by itself. So that's going to make the head smaller, but it could be a real benefit of having an enclosed shower. And we just know from Magic Carpet 1 that the head doesn't need to be that big, so we might really prioritize that. But we'll have to throw around some more ideas and do some templates and check it all out. The chain locker needs a pump, or it actually will be connected to the shower sump. So more through holes there, siphon hoses. Yeah, lots of plumbing, lots of electrical coming up, I think more later towards into winter. Excited to be here and excited to have it take shape. Like I just summarized very briefly, missing out half of the tasks, there still is lots to do. But now that we are here, the goal is to work on it full time and splash the boat in the summer of 2024. It's incredibly difficult to saw straight. Every time when you push, the arm goes down a bit, and when you pull, it goes up, and you do this. But that's why just slow strokes and straight.
You need to practice the violin.
Oh!
Bow control.
I want to see. Wow!
Now I'm working inside today on the computer, editing an episode, but also trying to organize materials to build some sort of structure over the boat. So we really need to think practically about this boat cover. We could spend a lot of time building a very beautiful shed that would last years into the future, but that's really not what this is about. So there has to be a bit of push-pull between the ideal and the practical for the moment. Just something that keeps the rain off and lasts one season. That's all we need, and to be built at a minimal cost, as minimal a cost as is possible. So there's a lot of different options to research. I mean, you can buy tents, you can build something yourself out of 2x4s. It then becomes a question of sourcing that lumber at the best price, pricing out all of that and creating your own design. We looked around the boatyard to see if anyone was selling sheds because they tend to come and go, but there was nothing available at the time. So one definite complication here is that the structure has to be freestanding because we have a lot of work to do on the decks and the bulwark and the hull itself. So we can't have a structure being supported by the boat itself because that's really going to get in the way of what we have to do, obviously. So that definitely limits options because the easiest, of course, would be to build some kind of like A-frame sort of structure supported by the boat itself. Or, you know, to put the mast up and put something over the boom. But that's not really an option at this point.
Another note is, why am I using this awesome saw that you only see in a museum nowadays? Thanks Arnie, by the way, again. So yeah, we've tried different saws to cut the bulwark material, but they mostly spin too fast and it melts the material. So we use the skill saw. You can also use it at a lower speed, like also the jigsaw. But the blade is so thin that it digs in and it doesn't provide nice results. Good old handsaw. There is this much width that gives you a nice straight cut. So that's what we're going for. celebratory message is that the bulwark material has been cut down. It's only the rough cut, but I'm super happy. You can see it's not just a vision, but you actually see the shear line, you see the transom. Like, it's not hard to imagine a tow rail on top of that compared to a jagged surface, so I'm super happy about that. Now there is a few things to prepare before being able to glass over it, because I want to incorporate a few things within the bulwarks before I cover them with fiberglass. So first though, I clean up a little bit of my mess here so that it doesn't blow all over the place. What are we doing? Maya's driving a big scary van, so I won't distract her too much. No, we did not just buy a van, like many might do or might think we are doing. We are hauling a big load of lumber, sheets of plywood and 16-foot 2x4s. So, yep, stay tuned and soon you'll know why.
Van life. No, just kidding, not van life. Yeah, we've been really debating on this whole shed topic, what to do about it, how to build one, looking at all the options, making all the calculations for price and stuff. And Aladino came up with a design. We priced out everything. We found a place that actually sells sort of like B-grade lumber, not good enough for construction, but it was a really good deal. So we thought we'd go with that. But then we went over to Lowe's and they are closing. They've got 20% off everything. So 20% off right there next to the boatyard. They had a van, this van you can rent for $25. So we decided to go with that. And I think we'll be happy for it. All in, lumber, tarps, screws, everything delivered was 950 Canadian. And hopefully we can sell a lot of this lumber and tarps again once we don't need the shed anymore. So that's the idea, and I think it'll be really good to have a cover over it, kind of a necessity really. And so far this was actually the cheapest option. We did look at buying tents too, but those are really pricey and a lot of them not quite tall enough. So yep, another project for Aladino.
I like. Mission keep the dinghy dry.
Mission
Keep the dinghy dry.
So we unloaded the van filled with the lumber which we had carefully chosen. In the next few days, we'll work on assembling our new workspace, and my dad will come to help, and by the end of it, we should have a somewhat functional roof over the boat. As always, thank you so much for being here. We so appreciate all of your support and involvement in the project. It's such a beautiful added dimension to this project to have so many people rooting us on, sharing their ideas, and we're so grateful for it. Let us know what you thought in the comments. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel. It really, really helps us out and really appreciate it. Extra big thanks to our patrons for always going above and beyond to make sure these episodes keep being produced. We publish real-time updates, usually in the form of a short, sort of less edited vlog on Patreon every single week, so you can get an idea of what's going on in real time, as well as a few behind-the-scenes quandaries and queries, and those are never published anywhere else. It's the patrons that really keep this alive, and we really, want to do what we can to show how grateful we are, so thank you. An extra big thanks to the folks whose names are now appearing on screen, always going the extra mile to make sure that these videos keep happening every Friday. We'll see you all next week. Bye.